Hello A-framers. Well, today I'm excited to show off our new task search page. Previously we had updated the transaction search page, then the contact search page, and now we are on to tasks. And I think you're really going to be happy with the new features that are afforded you with this new page. So you'll notice over here on the left, I'm just on the dashboard, but as always over here on the left is the navigation. You'll see this new option called tasks. Down here is the daily focus. This is where most of you actually used to look at all the tasks in sort of one place. This page will be phasing out in favor of the new task search page, but I think you'll find that the new task search page is far superior to this particular daily focus page. So let's go ahead and jump right in and we'll take a look. So I'll go ahead and hide that left nav. Okay, you'll notice this page is very similar to the transaction search and the contact search pages. We have all of our sort of pre-saved searches up here at the top. We can obviously manage these views where I can sort them, I can add new ones. You can share these different views, like if I wanted to share my due this week with my other team members, if you have a team. And then if I go to my share and predefined views, this is where we have all of our sort of best practice, maybe views that you can just click and create and then modify as you see fit. Or you'll notice down here, this is one I just shared. This will be available to other team members so they can copy maybe one of the filters that you've made. So that's kind of how those work. I'll go ahead and unshare that. But let's go back into the search area itself. You'll notice up top I've got a number of searches pre-saved that I think you might appreciate. First and foremost, we have all. When I click on all, it automatically just opens up every open and in progress task. But of course, I can go in here and modify that and apply filters. I do have some pre-saved searches, obviously. One of them is my open, so this will return all of my open tasks, so essentially tasks assigned to me. I've got tasks due this week. I've got all tasks that happen to have a color that are assigned to me. Also, you can look at tasks by transactions that I'm a part of. So these are tasks that may not all be assigned to me, but they certainly are a part of transactions that I'm involved in. You also have the ability to look at only contact tasks. So if you use tasks for, let's say, 30, 90, 120-day follow-up plans, this is a great way to sort of work those lists. And then last but not least, I have one set up to look at all of the tasks for Betty White, one of our team members. And so what this does is these are tasks that are assigned to me, but they're actually tasks where Betty White happens to be the primary agent. So if you're an independent TC and you want to sort of work on all of the transactions that a particular agent is a part of and work through all of those, this is a great way to do that. Something I'll point out while we're here, which is actually a pretty often requested feature that we've now implemented, is instead of looking at, let's say, Forrest Gump and Betty White are actually on the same team. So obviously we could choose all of the team members and, do the task that way. But sometimes you have teams that are 8 and 9 people, real estate teams that are pretty large. So now you have the ability to actually, instead of picking individual people, you can actually use contact categories. So I have Forrest Gump and Betty White all part of the Gump team category. And so if I just go in here and search Gump team, now I'm going to get every Gump team member that happens to be a primary agent, and now I've got all those tasks right there in front of me. So this is a great way to look at tasks, from an individual's perspective and also a team perspective. If I like the way this is set up and I want to click save, I can obviously do that, and now this search will be saved going forward. I can obviously edit the, I might change this to the Gump team, for example. So now I've got to search. All the open tasks for the Gump team are right there with one click of a button. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the other filters now that we've kind of looked at those briefly. I'm going to go ahead and search on the all, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add every filter that we've got. We'll kind of walk through these one by one. The first one is by subject. So you can search any number of words in the subject. Previously on the Daily Focus, it only limited your search to a single page. This subject search is across your entire database. So this is going to be hugely helpful for those who just want to say, okay, give me every task that contains the word closing. That would give you that search across your entire account. Transaction stage, this is pretty obvious. This will give you all the tasks for a transaction that is either pre-active, under contract, sold, etc. Here you can actually choose specific transactions. So if you just want to pop in here and say, actually give me everything for demo drive, I could do that. You can also search multiple transactions, so you're not limited to just one transaction. And then if I apply those filters, it's going to give me all of the tasks for those too. Same is true for contacts. You can pick as many contacts as you'd like, and this ends up giving the tasks associated with those contacts, right? So there's a difference between which tasks are assigned to people, which would be me or one of my other team members, or tasks that are actually part of a contact record themselves. So that's what this does there. We do have this new transaction team members filter, and I think many of you are going to find this. Oh, I actually already discussed this, so that's good. Okay, there we go. We talked about this with the Gump team. So other things that we've got is a more broad stroke associated with. So earlier we talked about associating it directly with a transaction or contact. Now you can just say, generally, I want to see all of my tasks that happen to be assigned to any contact in the system. Sorry, not assigned, but associated with, right? So this is great if, for example, my contact tasks. This is going to show you every task that's open that is associated with a contact, like 30, 90, 120-day follow-up plans. Omitted, if you want to see the omitted tasks, you're welcome to it. By default, they are excluded. So if you leave this filter out, it's essentially as if you had that checked. But if you want to see them included in the list or just see those omitted tasks, that's how you would do that. This allows you to filter for prospecting tasks. You've got really sort of hyper-focused complete date, which mimics the date filters that we have for transactions and contacts. So date range, preset, and then also dynamic. And then you can do the same for the due date. You can also filter by task types. And then, of course, you can filter by who is assigned to the task. So if I want to see all of my tasks, this account actually is Mary Poppins as the user. So this clearly would give me all of my open tasks. And then last but not least are the common three. The status, obviously, we can pick and choose which status. The when, this is actually when they're due, right? So it's basically related to the due date, not the complete date. But when you filter here, these give you just a little bit more broad stroke sort of due date filters. So just give me everything in the past, or maybe I just want everything for today and then click apply. That would give me just today's tasks. Two things I'll point out. Obviously, you can add tasks to our system without a specific due date. That's obviously what the no date does. But we also have this other option to include waiting tasks. And waiting tasks are those tasks that may be related to a transaction date, or potentially maybe another task, like a parent task, and they're waiting to be assigned a due date. So if you want to look at those, you're welcome to it. Typically, those are out of your purview because waiting tasks sort of quote unquote don't exist. But if you want to take a look at them, you can there. And then last but not least, you can certainly pick any number of colors to view in these filters. So I think you'll find that the amount of filters and the more powerful filters that you've got here far outweigh any sort of benefit or far surpass the functionality here on the old daily focus page. The other really cool thing about this new search page is the ability to group and to sort. So we talked, obviously about the filters and the saved, but up here you'll see two options, and these are really powerful buttons here. I can come in here and say, you know what, I actually want to group all of my tasks by a due date summary. And what does that do? Well, it will group all of the tasks in sort of a past, today, sort of near future, that's in the next 7 days, I believe. And then we've got in sort of the extended future, right? So this gives you sort of a broad stroke grouping rather than specifically every date, which sometimes every date is a little much. You can group by status. So we've got open, potentially in progress. You can group by color, which can be very helpful if you have tasks set up by color and they're really sort of like in a task batching sort of mode. This really allows you to sort of pick off all of your orange, all of your yellow, blue, etc. Let's see what else we've got. Obviously by assignee. So this will sort by Mary Poppins, and then we've got other users, admin, etc. You've got by transaction. So again, some of these searches, you might say, give me everything for the Gump team, but I really want to look at these by transaction. So this is a great way to say, okay, now I'm going to take a look at everything as part of the Gump team, and then let's go transaction, by each transaction, and we'll just sort of finish off everything that we need to accomplish. Obviously, the same is true for contact. This is basically the same thing as transaction, but from a contact sort of view. And then, of course, you can always look at them ungrouped, which is just literally no group at all, right? It's just a complete list there. You'll notice that sometimes you might want to combine the sort. Now, this is the sort within each grouping. So again, when you start to combine these, it really is a pretty powerful feature. So you might say, you know what, I want to sort these by transaction or group them by transaction, but then I want to sort them by color, because I like to work within colors and everything's colorized. Or you might say, you know what, I really just want to look at them by just due date, right? So that's the sort of generic, usually default sort. So if you group by transaction, and then obviously they're sorted by date within each subheading. So again, these are pretty powerful tools. Hopefully this page is going to give you the opportunity to look at tasks exactly the way you want to see them. Now, some other cool things about this page. I can obviously check all on this particular page. You can check, let's go back to all tasks so I can show you. I can check off tasks within a group. I can go to the next page, click off a couple tasks here, and now I've got 5 tasks selected, and I can do things with those tasks, right? So I can change all of the colors to those to, let's just say, orange across pages. I've got the option to change the status. I can change the color. I can snooze these tasks. And this is actually a new feature that we've added, where it used to be the default was basically snooze until tomorrow. Now you have the option to do today, tomorrow, or next week. This is also true if I go back to page 1 over here. So if I click this immediately, it will default to tomorrow, but if I right click, I have the option to snooze a specific task to today, tomorrow, or next week, which is always Monday of the next week. Another right-click option that's a bit hidden, so I'll just tell you about it now. Clearly, when you click off a task, it completes it by default, but if you want another option like in progress, you can do that straight from this screen now by right-clicking. Some other things that you can collapse and expand all the groups, which might be helpful in some scenarios. The other thing that's really nice is the ability to look at tasks, dates, and attachments for a particular transaction. So let's say you're working through 142 Test Street, but you really want to look at all the dates to help you understand where the tasks fit in. Now we have the drawers coming out from the right. You can clearly edit these and modify the dates as you see fit, but this gives you a great opportunity to sort of look at the dates that are here, look at the tasks that are here at the same time. If I go on to another transaction, like let's say, oh, well, they don't have any due there. But in any event, this is where you can look at all the tasks. You can look at obviously the dates. You can also look at any of the attachments. So, and these are fully functional, right? So if at this point one of the tasks is upload, the listing agreement to the transaction, all you have to do is open up that. We'll close this so we get these. All you have to do is open up the attachments drawer, and then you can just drag those files right in. So this page really gives you the opportunity to not only view your tasks, but also work those tasks and complete them in one page. Something else that's kind of neat is if I'm looking at a particular view and I'm like, you know what, I really just want to see stuff by Test Street. I can click this and I have 3 options. One, I can go to the transaction, fine. One is I can actually create a new search, and then the other one is add to filters. So let me show you what I mean. So you'll notice we're doing this sort of all search here. If I click add to filters, it will take my current search and just add in the associated transaction. So now the search that I had all set up is ready to go, except now I've filtered by a specific transaction in my list. The other option is to simply click a new search, and this will give me every task associated with that transaction regardless of its status. So it really gives you some powerful filter options just right here in the window. So I'll go ahead and leave it there, but I think many of you are going to find this page incredibly helpful. Hopefully it'll make your workflows that much more efficient. And as always, if you have questions or need help, you can email us at support@aframesoftware.com.